today I'm going to be going over what I think are the top 10 best teams of Regulation G so far, starting off with the Terrapago Screamtail team. Now, this team I got to rank 1 on ladder at the start of the regulation, and it's super duper consistent even against its bad matchups because of Screamtail. And the reason I have Screamtail on my team is so you can go for disable on things that give Terrapagos a hard time, such as Wide Guard, so then you can start spamming Terra Starstorm. Screamtail can also go for Encore on setup mons, meaning they'll have a much harder time dealing damage to Terrapagos as nothing can really set up to try and KO it. And then on all the mons that have super effective moves against Terrapagos, you can always just go for double protect and then disable the next turn to stop them from ever doing super effective damage to Terrapagos, while Terrapagos is setting Calm Minds, getting its Terra Shift back with leftovers and grassy terrain. And with the overall support of double fake out and disable and encore, Terrapagos can pretty freely set up Calm Mind and just spam Terra Starstorm. Another really nice partner for Terrapagos is Glimmora, as most of the turns while clicking fake out and disable and setting up Calm Minds are being quite passive. Once you toxic a few mons on the field and set up toxic debris, you gain chip damage every single turn, and maybe at around turn 5, everything will be chipped down to the point that Terra Starstorm after 1 or 2 Calm Minds can just Oko everything. Having every single mon poisoned also means they can't really protect as well, because every single time they protect, their mons are just going to keep on getting chipped down to the point where Terrapagos can one-shot them. Another mode that I have in this team is Urshifu Rapid Strike with Incineroar Rillaboom. What Urshifu Rapid Strike allows you to do is have some burst damage on the team. Terrapagos really needs like a few Calm Minds to really get going. But what Urshifu allows you to do is not to be as passive per turn. Get a lot of damage off of these, and then after that you've got all the damage off, you actually don't even need Calm Minds. You can just with Terra Starstorm and just win the game off that. And if they're leading like Kyogre Tornadus, one thing you can do is go Terrapagos Urshifu Rapid Strike lead. And what that does is it means that they can't go for Rain Dance, because if they go for Rain Dance, then you can just like one-shot their Tornadus with Surging Strikes. But if they don't go for Rain Dance, then you've got Terra Shift, and they're not going for Bleak Windstorm. And since they're not going for Bleak Windstorm, their Water Spout's doing no damage. You're getting Surging Strikes off. That's still not going to do heaps of damage. You can go for Terra Starstorm. Then the next turn, their Water Spout isn't doing any damage either. And then you've got Rillaboom in the back. So like the Kyogre matchup's really good. Calyrex Shadow matchup's really, really good because, you know, Terrapagos just doesn't get hit by it. Then Screamtail like beats the Zamazenta matchup, as I said. Groudon matchup, you just turn off Sun after you Terra Stella, and then Surging Strikes can KO Groudon after that. You also got Incineroar with knockoff and Parting Shot, so if you knock off their clear amulet, you just start intimidating them. And they can't ever be passive with Sword Stance because you got Mortal Spin on them. And after a few Mortal Spins, you just win with Terrapagos. So if you're looking for a really good Terrapagos team, this one you definitely should try out, as it's just really consistent against every single matchup. So if you play well with this team, you will win. That's why I got to rank 1 on the ladder. It's just really, really good. Now I'm going to go on to the next team. The next team I have is a really, really standard Calyrex Shadow team. And the reason I'm not using the Indeedee Mienshao stuff is because of the mirror. So in the mirror, Calyrex Shadow with Rillaboom, Tornadus, and Incineroar always beats the Mienshao and Didi stuff because we have more fake outs than them. We also have Tornadus to beat their Mienshao. And since we're not using Expanding Force, they actually can't Wide Guard against us. While if we do use Expanding Force, they can just Wide Guard with Mienshao and then we just lose to that. And because you've got Rillaboom and Incineroar and stuff, they're not really actually getting that much damage on the field. While after like maybe one nasty plot after a few fake outs, you're just going to sweep through them, especially with like Tornadus in the back. And I'm actually using a really, really nice Tornadus set here. So what this Tornadus does is it means that Choice Specs Calyrex Shadow can never ever one-shot you, and it can't one-shot you with Side Shot because you got that defense. And then you also got Terra Dark. So Calyrex Shadow can never ever KO the Tornadus, and then you can KO all its mons around it with Bleak Windstorm. And it's also got Rain Dance plus Urshifu Rapid Strike for the Groudon matchups. And this team also beats Trick Room pretty well because it also has Incineroar plus Amoonguss. Incineroar plus Amoonguss just can still out Trick Room so well. You can, whenever they go for like Ogerpon to like stop you sporing, you can just go fake out with Incineroar and then you just get Amoonguss. You can also just go for Nasty Plot with Calyrex Shadow, and in between like Rillaboom, Incineroar, you can just stall out Trick Room really, really easily. And also with the Amoonguss, you can just go Pollen Puff on the Calyrex Shadow. You've got a Focus Sash here, so you can always live like one hit. I just think this is one of the most consistent teams in the format at the moment, and it'll probably be pretty relevant even up until Worlds, because these are just like some of the best mons paired really, really well together. The next team I'm going to go over is my Miraidon team. Miraidon's a super duper broken Pokemon. It can even one-shot with Choice Specs. It can one-shot Incineroar with Electro Drip, which is really, really, really broken against Rillaboom, because like Miraidon hates Rillaboom, right? But you got so many things against it. You got like Tornadus with like Bleak Windstorm. You got Ogerpon. You got Kingambit. Like Rillaboom just can't hit Kingambit. You got Iron Bundle with Freeze Shard, just heaps of damage to Rillaboom. Frigoraph also stops like Grassy Glide, so Miraidon actually has a really good matchup. You can also pivot around really easily with Volt Switch. And we also got Imprisoned Trick Room on this, so like with Kingambit. and that means you have a really, really easy Calyrex Ice matchup. Against Kyogre, you got Iron Bundle Miraidon, and against Groudon, you can also use your Ogerpon, which is also really nice. With Iron Bundle and Ogerpon, with like Ive Cudgel and Woodhammer, you're doing so much damage to them. And in the back with like Tornadus, you also got like Draco Meteor, which one-shots Groudon with Choice Specs. Against Archlodon and Rain, like I know it can seem pretty hard, but you just got to position your Miraidon well so you can just one-shot it with Draco Meteor. If you do force their Terror, then you just go for like Iron Head with Kingambit. You just got to make sure they don't have too many defense boosts before this, but they shouldn't. And yeah, it's also got a really good Calyrex Shadow matchup because you got Focus Sash, you can just go for Icy Winds. After like a few Icy Winds, you can just one-shot them with Electro Drift. You also got Farigiraf, which is like immune to Astral Barrage, and you also got like Kingambit, which is also really nice against Calyrex Shadow. Against Terrapagos, I actually have Psychic Noise on Farigiraf, which means you can stop it healing, ever. And if you're versing Comfey Terrapagos, you can just Psychic Noise the Comfey, and then it stops it from ever going for Draining Kiss or Thorough Healing. It just stops it in general, which is also really, really nice. And you also got Rain Dance for Groudon teams, which I think is also really good. And Rain Dance plus Hydro Pump does heaps of damage also. If you're looking for a Miraidon team, then this one's also really, really good. So you can try this one out also. And by the way, I'll put all the paste in the description. This next team won a tour recently. It's a Zacian Crowned Pelipper team with a pretty standard balance score. And I think this team's really, really good because Pelipper like resists everything that Zacian Crowned is weak to. It also has Wide Guard to stop like Calyrex Shadow from ever being good. And you also got Tailwind, which is also really good with Zacian Crowned. You got like the pairing of Sash and Crown plus like 2 fake out mons with like Urshifu, and that's really, really good. Fluttermane's also really good for chipping things down. Like I don't think you ever want to lead Sash and Crown, it's usually in the back. And because it's in the back, you can use like Pelipper, Urshifu, Rapid Strike, and Fluttermane just to carry their own Incineroar. Once Incineroar is knocked out, Zacian just sweeps a lot of teams, especially if you have like Tailwind up, or even if you don't have Tailwind up, you can just use Pelipper to go for Wide Guard so you don't get swept yourself. Because a lot of the time, I see people using Zacian, what happens is they leave it till the back, but by the time it's in the back, the good like other restricted legendaries have already set up with like Terrapagos is already set up with Carmine. There's already been nasty plots with Calyrex Shadow. But what this means is you can't really get swept by those mons with Wide Guard, and that means that Behemoth Blade will be able to one-shot them in turn. So this is also a really, really nice, just consistent team. We've got Will-O-Wisp on the Incineroar just for the Calyrex Ice matchup, and that's really good. Also, it's got a pretty good Miraidon matchup because you do have Rillaboom to stop its terrain, and then you got like Zacian, which is actually faster than it, just going for play rough. So you also got like Fluttermane. So you pretty much force it to Terror, and once it's terrored, like you can just go Urshifu Rapid Strikes plus like Rillaboom, and Urshifu Rapid Strikes plus Rillaboom, you just like beat Miraidon because it's no longer a dragon type. So that's really, really nice. Yeah, but this is just another really, really consistent team. It's very interesting with Pelipper with Wide Guard. I don't think many people are prepping for this. So if you want to catch people off guard, I do recommend using this team. Yeah. And now we'll move on to the next team. Next team I'm going to be going over is the Sableye VGC's Lunala team. He does a really, really in-depth video that goes over this, so I won't really be going over it too much, but I'll just go over the basics. So Lunala with Wide Guard and Trick Room like provides counters to almost every single team. Like against all the hyper offense tailwind teams, you can just go Trick Room and then spam Wide Guard. It's got a really good damage output. Like after one Meteor Beam, your like attack goes to about, your special attack goes to about 300, which is super nice. And Moonblast Beam is basically just two-shotting every single Pokemon in the game. Incineroar can be a bit of a nuisance for Lunala, but then you got Kingambit, which is also really good. Some things like to Terra normal against Lunala, but yet again, Kingambit, we're going for low kick on this. And then we also got Urshifu Rapid Strike. Urshifu Rapid Strike isn't the choice Scarf variant, so you can use it in Trick Room, and I think that's really nice also. But yeah, if you want to check this team more in depth, then just go to Sableye VGC's channel. The next team I'm going to be talking about is a Groudon team that's placed really well in multiple tournaments so far. It's paired with Chien-Pao, which means Groudon does heaps of damage. And Precipice Blades with Chien-Pao, sometimes Incineroars can counter live Precipice Blades, but after the Precipice Blades next to Sword of Ruin, like no Incineroar ever survives that. Same with Fluttermane. Fluttermane never survives Precipice Blades next to Chien-Pao, which I think is really, really nice. And what Chien-Pao is weak to is like Incineroar and stuff, right? But Groudon just provides a really, really nice counter for that. And what they need to do to beat Groudon is like Terra Grass, right? Like a lot of mons will be Terra Grassing against Precipice Blades. And also Groudon's weak to the flying types. But then Chien-Pao covers both of those matchups. This is pretty much the most free Miraidon matchups. Like with Raging Bolt and Rillaboom, it's like a really free Kyogre matchup also. Chien-Pao, Incineroar give you a really, really nice Calyrex Shadow matchup also, and you can always turn off their Psychic Terrain with Rillaboom and just go for like U-turns if you ever get like intimidated by an Incineroar. We also got Will-O-Wisp for Incineroar also just for the Calyrex Ice. And if Calyx Ice does Terra, then you can go for your own Terra Fires and just start going for Precipice Blades and beat them. We've also got 2 forms of setup with Sword Stance and Calm Mind. And since you have Incineroar and Rillaboom on the team with like double Fake Out, then you can just start spamming like Sword Stance, getting a few Calm Minds off, and after that you just sweep. It doesn't have really any good speed control, but what you do have is a bunch of priority. You got Grass Glide, you got Sucker Punch, and we also got Thunderclap. I forgot I actually put Thunderbolt in there by accident. And then if, against like non-Tailwind teams, you do have Fluttermane, and Fluttermane can just sweep through non-Tailwind teams. And with like Tailwind teams like Tornadus, like Chien-Pao and Rage Ball are really, really good into those. So yeah, this team also has heaps and heaps of good matchups. If you don't mind missing, like Groudon's like a really, really good mon to use at the moment. I just don't use it personally because like I hate missing moves. But in a best of 3, you'll be hitting most of them. I guess the ratio of you hitting and missing is in your favor. So you may as well use Groudon. I actually think it's a very, very good mon. And it's actually one of the best restricted in this format at the moment. So I know there's not many ground teams going around at the moment. So if you wanted to try someone, this is also really good. So yeah. The next team is one of the teams I actually lost to in a tour. And when I play this, it was the most infuriating thing ever. I looked into this team more in depth and I realized it has like basically no bad matchups other than like Calyx Ice. But even so, but even against Calyx Ice, you've got like Terra Water, Sinistcha with like Incineroar, Urshifu Rapid, and Fluttermane. And Fluttermane and Urshifu Rapid can like take down Calyx Ice pretty easily. And then in between like Sinistcha and Incineroar, you can just like stall out the Trick Room. And you also got Cosmic Power, so while they're going for Trick Room, you can just start spamming Cosmic Power. And like there's no way you can get rid of this tournament. It's just like with Sludge Bomb and Flamethrower, it does so much damage. Like I didn't even realize how much damage it did until I started pacing it. And that's because it's got like a really, really nice special attack stat. Like it's got a higher special attack stat than like Fluttermane, which is really, really good. And it's got a really nice speed stat. Like you're outspeeding Adamant Chien-Paos like always, which caught me off guard. And then you got like the most crazy HP stat. Like there's no way you get this off the field. And against a lot of the restricteds, like Terrapagos, with pressure, yeah, they're actually going to lose all their Terra Star Storms before they can KO you. And with Cosmic Power and Recover, like they're just done. Like with pressure, Cosmic Power and Recover, they're going to like start struggling because they just can't use their Terra Star Storm anymore. Wotion's also a really nice Pokemon in the meta at the moment because it beats a lot of the restricteds. Like it has a really good matchup into like Miraidon. It has a really good matchup into Groudon, has a really good matchup into Kyogre, has a really good matchup into Calyx Ice, Calyx Shadow. If you wanted to try and beat Calyx Ice better, you can use Foul Play. That gives a really good matchup into Calyx Ice. But I do like Snarl in this because you're just beating a lot more Pokemon because of it. I think that's the only mon that this team kind of struggles against is Koraidon. Like the only way you got to hit Koraidon is like Fluttermane, but they can just Terra, and after that you kind of just lose. But I think this format has so many things that you do have to counter for that it's all right to have like one bad matchup. And there's still ways to play around it. Like if you knock off them, then you can start just going for strength sap, and there's not really a way they can get around that. And if you position really well with Cosmic Power, or they don't have like a Dragon move, like if they don't have a Dragon move, like a lot of Koraidons don't, then they literally just can't hit your Eternatus. But I mean, the matchup's kind of bad if they do a good Dragon move. But yeah, that's this team. I'll also put this one in the description. Next thing we're going to be going over is Calyx Ice team. And this is how I think you should be running Calyx Ice in the meta, as both a Trick Room and Tailwind team. Because if you're going hard into Trick Room, then they can just stop your Trick Room with like a Prison Trick Room, or they can just use like a Moongus. But if you do have that Tornadus mode, you just beat the other imprisoned Trick Room mons. As you just out damage them with like Terra Normal, Blood Moon, and Hyper Voice. It also creates a lot more things that they have to deal with and think about. Urshifu is also really nice in this team just to give an extra thing to help with the Calyx Shadow matchup, as Calyx Shadow can actually be quite annoying because a lot of the time they do have both a Tornadus and a Figurath on their team. And if they play well, they can just play around your speed tiers and one-shot your Ursul and Blood Moon. But with Urshifu, you get a much better matchup. And we also got Terra Dark with Tornadus in the same spread as last time, just to be able to like consistently wool out the Calyx Shadows. And in between like Ursaluna and Figurath, you have heaps of switch-ins into Ash Barrage, so that's also really, really good. Helping Hand also makes you do so much damage in Trick Rooms, like Glacial Lands plus Helping Hand is just broken. And Ursaluna Blood Moon provides a really nice partner for Calyx Ice, because Calyx Ice doesn't really want to deal with stuff like Incineroar, but it beats that. And also provides another damage output, because a lot of the time in Calyx Ice teams, you're basically only doing damage with Calyx Ice, and you just like got monsters surrounding it, like Incineroar, Farigiraf, Ogerpon, and Amoonguss. You usually got those mons around Calyx Ice, but those don't actually do much damage, so you're fully reliant on Calyx Ice to do all the damage. But on this team, you got like Iron Hands, Ursaluna, and Urshifu to also do heaps of damage next to Calyx Ice, and that gives you way more options and variability per game in each team, and which makes it really good in best of 3. This next team I'm going over is Koraidon team. I actually got first in a really big tour. It had like 80 players, which is quite big since I had no prize pool. And it's just a really, really nice hyper offense team with like Fluttermane, Chi-Yu. Chi-Yu next to Koraidon does so much damage. Raging Bolt, same with like next to Koraidon, just so much damage. Amoonguss next to Chi-Yu gives you quite a good Calyrex Ice matchup, and you also have like Terra Fire on this. With Flame Charge, after like one Flame Charge and Tornadus, like with Tailwind, like no other Tailwind teams will be able to outpace you, and then you can just sweep through with that. And this Floodmane's also really nice. You can stop Trick Room with like Taunt. You can also stop Tailwind with Taunt if they're not Frank's a Tailwind. You also got Ice Wind for extra speed control. So like pretty much nothing's ever gonna outpace your team, and nothing can really stop the damage on your team because you do have Clear Amulet on Koraidon. They can't really get too many snarls off because Chi and Fluttermane just does way too much damage to most of the mons that do have snarl. They can't really stop Sunny Day because you do have Sunny Day on Tornadus next to Koraidon, so you can just keep on consistently going for that. And since the Tornadus is more bulky, Sunny Day's off per game. And yeah, like this team did play number 1, so that just validates this team's quite good. And the last thing we're sharing is actually a really nice way to use Kyogre. A lot of people are writing off Kyogre, just saying that it's like bad because it's got like Ogerpon that's really good into it. It's got Raging Bolt that's really, really good into it. But what I'm gonna do to like fix that is you actually have this Terra Fairy, Terra Blast, Wochen. Like what's good into Kyogre just loses to this mon. Like Raging Bolt just gets destroyed by Assault Vest, Terra Fairy, Terra Blast on Wochen. This Wochen set also like does so much damage into Miraidon. It's also got like Pollen Puff, so you can keep on Pollen Puff spamming on the Kyogre. Against Ogerpon, you got Terra Grass. You got Knock Off and Giga Drain, so you can just consistently heal up and also knock off any items that are good into Kyogre, like Assault Vest. We got like Will-O-Wisp on Incineroar yet again for Calyrex Ice. Since it does have a lower defense stat, Wochen also pairs really well with Kyogre. And then to stop all the priority or fake out spam, we also got Indeedee F. Indeedee Female can also provide redirection, so your Kyogre stays healthy, so it can get some more Orange Impulses off and just keep them going for Calm Mind. And also provides Trick Room mode, so you got both Tailwind and Trick Room on this. And then Regieleki is also a really nice tech, just so you can never ever get outpaced in like Tailwind. With like Indeedee and Regieleki, we saw this in Dynamax formats, like Helping Hand with Regieleki just does so much damage, and you can start Volt Switching into things like Wochen, and with like, if you keep on Volt Switching around, you can get so many moves off with Regieleki, and that will just keep on doing more damage. And also provides a really good Miraidon counter, as with Miraidon, you can use Terra Ice, Terra Blast to beat Miraidon, and then you also get the power up boost from Miraidon's Terrain, which makes Thunderbolt and like Electro Web and Volt Switch just do so much more damage. I think this is one of the more interesting teams I did share. And I saved it for last just because it's really fun to use, and I think this team actually could do really well in a tournament and go like quite a far away, especially like you got that many good matchups and you're going to catch enough opponents off guard. Like you can get day 2 with this team just really easily. So that was my top 10 teams for Regulation G. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you can get most of these teams like really high on the ladder, or you can do really well in tournaments. So I hope I help you with that. I'll put all the Pokepaste in the description. Also, before you leave, remember to subscribe and comment for anything else you'd like to see in my videos. And I also really appreciate the support you guys have been giving me. We've reached 100 subscribers recently, and I'm quite happy about that, as I only had like 30 subscribers for quite a while. And if you want this channel to do better, then yeah, share it with your friends, share it with the rest of the Pokemon community, and yeah, have a good day, have a good night.